Welcome back to CT21. Believe it or not, I've been making television for 20 years. And of all the stuff I've done, the thing that's gotten the most views on WFSB's YouTube channel is an interview we did with a man named Michael Panicello back in April. It's been clicked on so often you could say the ratings are out of this world. You see, Mr. Panicello is the state director of a group known as MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. The interview, recorded ahead of the expected release of reports from some government investigations into UFO sightings, has been viewed more than 285,000 times by people who went to YouTube. That's a lot. Perhaps today we'll cross the 300,000 mark. Take a look. Michael, thank you for being with us. This all came out of a coronavirus bill, and now we have this much anticipated report. Tell us how we got here.
So it all started back in December 17th, a few years ago, when the New York Times released an article by Leslie Kean talking about these videos of unidentified objects that the Navy has recorded. And it also included in that article a secret program that the Pentagon was running investigating UFOs. And from that, over the years, a lot of follow-up from the supposed director of that, Lou Elizondo, has been making the rounds. He's been on a lot of interviews, and that's caught the attention of our government, specifically Congress and the Senate. And they had some hearings a few months ago, and now they are requesting a report, and that was put in the last COVID bill, which should come out hopefully in June.
And everything that we hear about this report, even though it was buried deep in this 5,000-page coronavirus bill, is that it will contain a lot of interesting information. We were looking at some of those Navy videos just a moment ago, which is sort of what spurred this, as they got a lot of news coverage. Tell us, what do you expect to find out from this report?
Well, I'm excited. I think it's going to be something that will have some information from the leaks or the teases of it. It looks like they're going to say there's technology out there that they're witnessing, that they've recorded, that they don't know what it is, or they don't have the technology to replicate it. So that would mean that it could really be something unknown. And that was, I believe, the first time since Project Sign in the 1940s where the government has come out and said, we don't know what these are.
So what is in this, I was going to say universe, but I guess I shouldn't use universe when talking about UFOs, but what are we talking about here? Is it, little green men in flying saucers? Is it just stuff that we don't know what it is and can't identify it? Give me the scope of what we're talking about, Michael.
So it runs the gamut. Some people who always claim that they've been abducted talk about little gray aliens with black eyes, they look like almond eyes. They have no hair on their bodies. They're almost like little robotic creatures. Some talk about some kind of interdimensional being that they've experienced. We don't know. UFOlogy has gone through a lot of changes and evolutions over the last few years. Back in the 1940s and 50s, we always thought these were like mechanical craft, that they came from another galaxy, they came from another planet. But now, as we evolve as humans, and like with quantum physics and our physics of the universe is better being understood, we're starting to see these could not be some kind of interdimensional beings. We know that there's multiple dimensions out there, could have coming from something of that nature. So it runs the gamut between those two things.
Now, I know one of the things your group does is check out these sightings. They happen here in Connecticut. I imagine that you get these reports and have to check them out. Tell us how it works.
So what we do is, if someone in Connecticut sees something, doesn't matter, light in the sky or whatever, they will put in a report to MUFON Connecticut. We will then send out a field investigator who will go and observe it, the sighting location. We'll talk to the witness. We'll do our best to investigate what could that possibly have been.
And what can it be? What's the spectrum? It might just be a plane. What do you find?
Yeah. So it could be a plane. A lot of times, most of the stuff I say, like maybe 90% of the stuff in our sky are man-made objects. They're planes, they're blimps, they're sky lanterns, which are those little toy lanterns that people light and they float up in the sky at night. Of that, maybe 10% is truly unknown. And the unknown stuff is the stuff that moves in a trajectory that's not normal. Most normal objects move in a straight line. You know, our aircrafts, our planes move in a straight line. But like if you look at those Tic Tac UFO videos, you have objects that are bouncing all around. They're moving in one direction, then all of a sudden they change and go another direction. Well, our common technology doesn't allow for that. So when we see something unknown in the sky, that's what we're looking for, and those are the kind of things that we see, and then we classify them as unknown.
Does it add credence to your mission that these videos are shot by the U.S. Navy, the ones we've been looking at, and that there are other military and even civilian pilots who have seen these things and recorded them?
Oh, absolutely. Pilots are a great witness because, you know, they're trained to observe the skies. You know, they're looking out for other aircraft when they're flying. They're looking out for anything that could be a hazard to them. So they know what's in our skies. The fact that the military is now coming out and saying, hey, you know, this stuff that's up there, we don't know what it is. We're not sure what it is, just gives us more credibility because we've been saying that for a while. We don't know what these are, and people need to at least listen and be open to the possibility. For so long, they weren't open to the possibility. We always were dismissed. And so now we can say, well, we're not being dismissed by the government anymore.
You got to know there's going to be people watching this interview this Sunday morning who are saying, they had this guy Michael on and he's crazy. He thinks there's UFOs. How do you respond to those people?
I've been called crazy all my life thinking about UFOs, so I'm used to it. It's fine. I think what I'd say is, you know, look at the evidence. The evidence that is out there, if you go with an open mind and a skeptical mind, there is plenty of documentation of unknown stuff out there, whether it comes from military sources, whether it just comes from listening to eyewitness accounts of what they've seen in the night sky. And if you go in with it with an open mind and you don't go in with already shutting it down, then yeah, I think there's a pretty good case that we're not crazy.
The number one bit of feedback I got was, did you tell the UFO guy you thought he was crazy? I didn't. I said other people might think he was crazy, but it got 300,000 views, so who's crazy now? What an interesting piece, and can't wait to see what's in that report. If you'd like to learn more about Connecticut's Mutual UFO Network, head to MUFONCT.com. The group holds meetings the first Saturday of each month, and they will look into local reports of unidentified aerial phenomena. They're the experts. Talk to them. Have you ever thought about helping a child in the foster care system? We're meeting a local mom who has stepped up and made a difference in the lives of 7 children who needed her. It was a heartwarming interview. We'll bring it to you right after this.